So, my dear students, we were talking about different aspects of Vedic education. We just talked about aims of education during the Vedic period. Then we talked about the curriculum. There were different curricula for different sections of people during Vedic age. And we just talked about the educational system during the Vedic age, that is Gurukula system. The Gurukula system was prevailing there during the Vedic period. Now I may move to the methods of teaching during Vedic age. What were the methods of teaching during the Vedic period? Have you got any guess? Have you got any information on that? Or have you got any picture in your mind about the methods of teaching during the Vedic age? Tell me.
Yes. Gurukula Vidyabhyasa Reethi.
Yeah, it was Gurukula. Okay, the system of education was Gurukula.
Lecturing.
Yeah, yes, lecturing. Okay, lecturing. Because if you think about the system of education, you can see that it was a teacher-centered educational system. Yes, am I right? Whether it was learner-centered or teacher-centered?
Teacher-centered.
It must be teacher-centered, because we have seen that teacher, the Guru, had got that much importance. The Guru had got that much respect. So it was the teacher-centered educational system. So you can tell that lecturing was one of the methods of teaching, because the teacher will recite. Actually, if you think about the educational system or the scenario or the picture, the teaching of the Guru, the picture of the teaching process, you can see that there were different scripts, religious scriptures, okay, Vedas, then Vedangas. So I think that the Guru would recite first, okay, and this may be considered as a lecture method, okay. So lecture method was there. Then any other idea? Yes. So I may tell you a technical term, and this is it was a method during the Vedic period. Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and it was the most important method of teaching during Vedic period. Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Can anyone explain? Just look at the terms.
Hearing.
Just
Sravana means hearing.
Yeah, hearing or listening. Okay, yeah, then
listening. Yeah, listening.
Yeah.
And to learn,
Manana. Yeah, Manana means to by heart, to keep it in mind. Yeah,
by heart. Yeah, by heart.
To store in mind. Manana means to by heart. Then Nididhyasana.
I don't know the meaning of it.
Yeah, there is. I think it will not be familiar for you because it's a new term. Yeah. So this is the important method of teaching during Vedic period. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is to discuss the items by heart, in the mind, to contemplate, to think about it deeply. That is Nididhyasana. Okay. So it is the most important method. That means the teacher, the Guru will recite first. The Guru would recite first the items in the book or in the scriptures. And during that time, the students would listen to the Guru carefully. That is Shravana. Shravana means to listen. They will be concentrating on the recitation of the teacher. That is the first stage. Then after that, the students will by heart whatever recited by the teacher, whatever taught by the teacher. That is manana. Then nididhyasana, and this is the most important stage. And here, the students have to think deeply about what they have by heart. They have to interpret. They have to explain. They have to look at the different aspects, different angles of what they have learned. And here comes the skill of the learner. Okay, you will see different students have got different skills. All the students might be able to by heart. The pace may be different, the speed may be different, but all the students might be able to by heart. But the matter is that a real skill occurs, or real skill lies in explaining the items which we have already by hearted. And that is nididhyasana. To think about the items which we have learned in a deeper manner. So this is the most prominent method of teaching during the Vedic period. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Is got idea?
Yeah. So there was
Yes, sir.
deliberation method as well, I think, because if you explore the Upanishad, you can see dialogues between Guru and Shishya. There are, it's a sort of a dialogue
Yeah.
system.
Actually, yeah. Let me tell you, you're right. So actually, I have taught only one method, and the second method, what you told is another method, that is discussion. Interaction means discussion. Yeah. Yes, got that, yeah.
Yes.
And here, the thing is that whenever we talk about the difference between traditional education and modern education, we tell that in traditional education, it was the teacher-centered education, and there was no discussion, there was no brainstorming, there was no interaction, there was only teacher-centered teaching. And nowadays, we have got some learner-centered classroom, and we are using some learner-centered method. There is discussion, there is debate, there is brainstorming. Actually, this notion is a mistaken notion. During the traditional educational system, actually, there was discussion. And nowadays, when you learn something about philosophy in your second semester, during your second semester, you will learn that Plato was a person who was giving some contribution to modern child-centered education. When I was a B.Ed student, teachers used to teach us Plato was a representative of traditional education, and he was not promoting child-centered education. He was only promoting teacher-centered education, and he hadn't contributed anything for modern child-centered education. But now, when I have become a B.Ed teacher, now I'm teaching that Plato's Socratic method is one of the most important contributions to modern child-centered education. So this one was there, discussion was there between the teacher and the students, and among the students there were discussions during Vedic period. Okay, so Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana was a method of teaching, then discussion was another method of teaching, then lecture was another method of teaching. Yeah, then activity method also was there, because we have seen that Kshatriyas were given some training in martial arts, training in fencing, training in archery, training in horse riding. So there was activity-oriented methods also, but modern people will tell that there was no activity-oriented method during the traditional educational during the traditional period, during the ancient period. But I feel that there was Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, then there was lecture method, there was discussion, there was debate, there was activity oriented methods of training in martial arts. Yeah. So these were the methods of teaching during the Vedic period. Then I may ask another question. What might be the medium of instruction during the Vedic age?
Sanskrit.
Yes, Sanskrit.
Sanskrit is
Sanskrit was the medium of instruction, and most of the people criticize this one. Most of the people believe that there was stratification in the case of education because Sanskrit was the language of the elite people and Pali was the language of the common folk. So they gave education only in Sanskrit. That means that there was stratification in giving education. The people who believe that, who argue that there was stratification in the case of education during Vedic age, telling that they were giving education only in Sanskrit language. So Sanskrit was the language of elite people during those days, and education was given in Sanskrit. The medium of instruction was Sanskrit. Then, can you tell about the teacher-student relationship? The teacher status, whether teacher has got any importance, whether teacher had got some prominence. So what was the teacher? Yeah,
Teacher is considered as a spiritual father.
yeah, you're right. Spiritual, sorry, people consider them as spiritual fathers. Yes, yeah.
And a
Then,
lifetime relationship also.
yeah. So it was actually it was really a teacher-centered educational system. A teacher got that much respect. Teacher was considered as just below God, the Almighty. People respected teacher, and though the students were not invited, although the students were not allowed to attend any functions at their family during the Brahmacharya period, during the studentship period, teachers were invited to different functions, and the parents of students used to send some gifts and some mementos to teachers. So they were considered just below God. They had got some status just below God, and they were respected. And as you saw in the case of Gurukula system, students were to serve. Students were to offer all the sorts of service to teacher and wife of the teacher. So it was really a teacher-centered educational system. Teacher got that much respect, and see the manners or the respect provided by the students had been considered as more important than the knowledge they gained. And we call it Gurutva. Gurutva was considered as the most important factor behind getting education or knowledge. That was there. You can see it in the case of Ekalavya. Actually, Ekalavya was offering his finger. Ekalavya was offering his finger to Dronacharya just because Dronacharya demanded, just because Dronacharya asked. So that was considered. The respect given to teacher was considered as more important than the knowledge, more important than anything else during the Brahmacharya period. Okay, so these are the features of education during Vedic age. And one more thing I may tell you, actually, traditional values. There were some traditional values which we had in mention when I was talking about the aims of education. Do you know the traditional values of India? There were 4 traditional values. Anyone? Anyone knows? There were 4 traditional values.
values. Can you
Yeah.
speak
Yeah.
one of them?
I cannot hear. Pardon?
For instance, can you give me an example?
Honesty. Honesty is one of the honesty was one of the traditional values. So I may tell honesty, simplicity, tolerance, and non-violence. Yeah, got it? Tolerance, then honesty, non-violence, and simplicity. These are considered as the traditional Indian values. So one of the aims of education during the Vedic age was to cultivate the traditional values such as simplicity, honesty, tolerance, and non-violence. It also was considered as one of the aims of education. And similarly, there are some other values such as Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Yeah, got it. Yeah, I think you might have heard it. Yeah. So this goodness, beauty, and such things. Okay. So Satyam Shivam Sundaram also was were there. So education gave some importance for cultivating these values too. Okay. So these are the features of education during the Vedic period. Yeah, got the idea. Any question there? Any doubt, you can ask me. If anyone has got any doubt, then just ask me. Clear? Yeah, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I may just explain all these things